Hi there, have you ever wondered where stuff like trees and birds come from, but most people's explanations aren't metal enough for you? Boy, do I have a religion for you, said first millennium pre-Christian Nordic civilization. My name's Jake, I came here to kick ass and talk about Norse mythology, and I'm all out of ass. So at first there was just a hot place, a cold place, and a whole lot of nothing in between. But then they started leaking and mixed their elemental juices together to make a big giant named Ymir, and he sprouted a bunch of kiddos called the Jotnar. Then a cow showed up from somewhere and licked a dude into existence, and then he had a kid who had 3 more kids named Vili, Ve, and Odin, and they were like, wow, this universe is kind of boring, huh? So they killed Ymir, and he dropped approximately 6.585 sextillion tons of materials, which they used to build a whole planet. But then the Jotnar were like, hey, it was kind of a dick move for you guys to kill our dad, then build a planet out of his corpse. Huh? Oh, hey, sorry guys, yeah, we can't hear you over this big wall we built, this big wall that encircles the entire Earth. Yeah, I don't know, can't help you, bye. And then they made some people out of sticks, and this guy Heimdall came and banged a whole population of them into existence. Then they decided Odin got to be in charge of everything, and in true chief deity fashion, he had a bunch of kids from various sexy goddess ladies, like Bragi, who's into writing poetry, Vidar, who likes avenging his father's death at the hands of a giant kaiju wolf, hypothetically, and Thor, whose main hobby is killing Jotnar, and pretty much exclusively that, but he's very good at it. And then of course there's Balder, who's a super cool guy that everyone likes. Literally everyone. See that squirrel? He's tight with Balder. That rock over there? Balder helped him move his couch last week. Sometimes he has bad dreams, but don't worry, it's probably fine. Nothing bad will ever happen to Balder. Meanwhile, Odin decided he wanted to know how to do smart people things like reading and destroying people at trivia games. So he traded his eye to a guy named Mimir for a sip of his magic pool water, and then he vibed out on a tree for a few days trying to memorize the alphabet. And once he was super duper smart, he knew secret magical techniques for predicting the future. Alright, let's see what this one says. Don't make a sacred blood pact with a guy named Loki. He will betray the Aesir, and then he and his children will bring about the end of the world. Shit. So the Aesir tracked down Loki's kids, each of whom bore a striking resemblance to their mother and father. Jormungand didn't seem very threatening, so they just tossed him in the ocean, but then he hit a fairly significant growth spurt. Oh hey, a tasty looking tail. Ow! Pain flavor. Then they sent Helen to Niflheim and put her in charge of managing all the dead people, except any valiant warriors who Odin calls dibs on. He keeps them at his place, you know, just in case he ever needs them for something. Fenrir was just a cute puppy, so a guy named Tyr volunteered to take care of him, but then he turned out to have a similar metabolism to his brother, which posed an issue. So the Aesir commissioned some dwarves to make a super strong magical rope out of various non-existent materials. Hey, Fenrir, we were just thinking of doing a fun little game with you, where we, tie you up with this rope, just to see if you can break out of it, you know, cause you're so big and strong. Are you guys trying to imprison me for all of eternity? What? No! First of all, I am offended you would even say such a thing. We're just trying to play around here, you know, have some goofs. Okay, well, just to be safe, why don't we have one of you put your hand in my mouth, and then I'll let them go once you set me free. Yeah, sure, that'll work. That sounds fine. That sounds great. Let's do that. Alright, yeah, I'll do it. And wouldn't you know it, Fenrir was unable to break free, and Tyr was partially dismembered. Well, guys, I guess we should all give Tyr a hand. So the Aesir gods had some neighbors called the Vanir, consisting of Njord and his 2 kids, Frey and Freya. There were probably a lot more Vanir gods, but Vikings were bad at writing stuff down, and we don't have any information on them. So, to fill in the gaps, I just designed some original gods myself. Sure, yeah, they look plausible. They got into an argument over something with the Aesir, which led to some warring, beheading, burning, and impalement, you know, typical neighborhood drama. But they got tired of fighting after a while and decided to call a truce, and they signified their new friendship by all spitting into a bucket together. And, not wanting to let valuable god saliva go to waste, they decided to sculpt their spit into a dude named Kvasir, who was super smart and could answer any question. What region is the Victoria Crown pigeon indigenous to? New Guinea. What's 2,347 divided by 3.681? 637.59847866742. I'll take your word for it. How many fingers am I holding up? None, because Jake was too lazy to give you actual hands. And so Kvasir traveled around the world sharing his knowledge with everyone he came across, until one day when he met 2 dwarves named Fjalar and Galar. Hey, what would hypothetically happen if we stabbed you directly in the chest with this knife? Well, there's a variety of possibilities, mostly fatal depending on which specific area you stab. For instance, if you severed my aorta, I'd die within seconds. Oh, that was a clever setup. And then they collected his blood and brewed it into magic beer, which granted them the ability to create beautiful poetry after drinking it, and they stored the rest inside 3 kegs to keep for themselves. Meanwhile, the gods started wondering where Kvasir went and began trying to track him down. Hey, Fjalar and Galar, I've been trying to figure out where Kvasir went off to, and I heard you guys were the last people who saw him. Any idea where he is? A great tragedy. He choked on all his knowledge and died before us. Aw man, that really sucks. But why did you choose to relay this serious information to me through a haiku? When life is at its darkest and sorrow consumes us, beautiful words can be a candle in the night. Fjalar. I don't know what the hell that was, but it's equally suspicious. Odin's onto us. We should probably leave here to keep our beer safe. The greatest tragedy is that the things we hold most dear are the things we must hide from the envy of others. Fjalar. Yeah, sure. Oh wait, I gotta keep the meter. Damn, haikus are hard. So they found a nice home owned by a friendly Jotun couple and politely asked them for room and board, and by that I mean they committed 2 more counts of first-degree murder. But they forgot about their son Sudung, who returned after picking up some groceries, and when he saw what the dwarves had done, he took them out to the middle of a lake to amicably settle their conflict. And by that I mean leave them on a rock to drown once the tide rolled in. Okay, I get you're mad, very understandable, but we can't swim, so... Yeah, that's kind of the idea, though I'd be happy to let you back on board if you can offer me some compensation for my trouble, assuming you have something roughly equivalent in value to the 2 loving parents you murdered. Don't seek treasure from others. Seek the means to find treasure within yourself. My inner power. Fjalar. What the fuck does that mean? We have magic beer. Syllable, haikus are stupid. So Sudung took the beer kegs in exchange for sparing Fjalar and Galar's lives, and he hid them under a mountain and made his extremely lonely daughter Gunnlod stand guard. But once word got around, Odin devised a plan to steal back Kvasir's remains and put on his best disguise. Then he went to the home of Sutun's brother Baugi and came across his slaves working outside. Hello, gentlemen. Just your average unsuspecting traveler passing through. How are your days going? Not super great. All our scythes have gone dull, so they're not good at cutting grass anymore. Also, we're slaves. Well, I can solve one of those problems, but probably not the one you were hoping for. And Odin brought out a whetstone and sharpened all their blades. Wow, these are super good at cutting grass now. What a nifty little device. This is almost as good as paid labor and the right to personal autonomy. At least I assume. And it can be one of yours for just 27 payments of $4.99. Oh, darn. We don't really have any money. No worries, I'll just give it for free to whoever can catch it. Haha, the classic make 9 people accidentally dismember each other with scythes trick. Works every time. And then he visited Baugi in his home. Hey there, I'm Bulwark, and I just wanted to inquire about this help wanted sign outside your establishment. Yeah, all my slaves just randomly killed each other. Dumbasses must have fallen for the old make 9 people accidentally dismember each other with scythes trick. I hear that one works every time. Well, I would be happy to offer my services. That sounds good, but I'm not super experienced when it comes to compensating people for labor. What do wage workers normally get paid nowadays? I believe the minimum wage in this province is a sip from 3 kegs of magical poetry beer. Oh cool, I think my brother has some of those, so I can probably hook you up. You're hired. And so Bulwark worked for Baugi that whole summer, doing the work of 9 men, and he totally crushed it. But when Baugi came to Sudung to ask for the magic beer, his brother refused to share it, so he and Bulwark started digging into the mountain lair where the kegs were stored. And once they made a hole, Odin turned himself into a snake and slipped inside, leaving Baugi behind. Aw man, looks like I fell for the classic disguise yourself as a mysterious traveler, then plan a heist only to abandon your accomplice at the last minute by transforming into a snake trick. Not again. And once Odin was deep under the mountain, he saw that Sudung's daughter Gunnlod was there guarding the magic beer kegs. Hey, how did you get in here? You better not be trying to steal my dad's poetry beer. Actually, ma'am, I came here looking for a beautiful young woman, and it looks like I found one. These have been the most wonderful 3 days of my life. I would do anything for you. Well, now that you mention it, I was wondering if maybe I could have some of your dad's poetry beer? I guess that's okay, but only 1 sip from each keg, alright? Cool, thanks. So, I gotta go. I'll call you. Bye. And Odin turned into a bird and started booking it back to Asgard. And Sudung saw and started chasing after him, but Odin used a special maneuver to block his advances. And then he barfed up the poetry beer into 3 vats, securing it for the gods. And now Odin sneaks it into some people's drinks, granting them the ability to create beautiful poetry. And the portion that came out his other end gets served to mediocre animators. So Loki was the kid of a Jotun named Forbauti, but thanks to a blood ritual with Odin, they were actually pretty tight with the Aesir and Vanir. But every now and then they liked to pull some sick pranks on their friends, but it was all in good fun, and the gods were always good sports about it. Loki, did you steal my wife's hair? Yes, I did. Ow, my bone! Buckle up, buddy, that's 1 out of 206. We've got a long way to go. Or, alternatively, I could go see if I can find some dwarves to make Sif some brand new hair? That could work, but if you come back empty-handed, we're starting where we left off. So then Loki went and commissioned the sons of Ivaldi to make some beautiful new hair for Sif, and they even threw in 2 more sick presents for Odin and Frey. Wow, this problem was actually super easy to fix, and with these bonus gifts, the Aesir will probably owe me a huge solid. I wonder how I can ruin this situation for myself. So then they went to a dwarf named Brock and bet their head that his brother Atri couldn't make 3 even better gifts. Sure, I'll take you up on that bet, but I have one question. Sure, go ahead. Why do you do this to yourself, Loki? I don't know. So Atri got to work and told Brock to manage the bellows and to not stop pumping for any moment until all 3 of his gifts for the gods were finished. But while they were working, a mysterious fly appeared from no discernible point of origin and harassed Brock the entire time. And he ended up getting distracted at the last second, causing the last gift to be botched. And then Loki and Brock brought their gifts to be judged by the gods. Thank you all for coming. My first gift is for Sif, who was recently the victim of a tragic theft committed by an unidentified culprit. But don't worry, because today I present to you I Can't Believe It's Not Hair. Made from the finest gold threads, I Can't Believe It's Not Hair fuses directly to the scalp upon application and grows like natural hair. Side effects may include redness, itching, swelling, burning, and other forms of mild to severe irritation. Do not use I Can't Believe It's Not Hair if you are diabetic, epileptic, anemic, or if you are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. If you experience dizziness, lightheadedness, or nausea soon after applying I Can't Believe It's Not Hair, contact your doctor immediately. Wow, pretty good. Alright, I'll keep your other 205 bones intact for now, Loki. And up next for Odin is Gungnir. Alright, now look, you take a regular old spear, you throw it at your enemies, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't, but now your spear is gone, you just gave it to your enemies. Stop giving your weapons to your enemies, get Gungnir. Now look at this, 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. It hits your target every time and then comes right back to you. You don't have to waste your time going to get your spear, and even if you did, guess what? All your enemies are dead now. Total life changer. Hey, I actually really like that. Yeah, very nice. Man, I wish I had a cool magic weapon. And finally, my last gift for Frey. Are you tired of transporting your heavy warships across land? There's gotta be a better way. Introducing Skidbladnir, the first fully armed warship that fits in your pocket. Wowee! And wherever you choose to sail Skidbladnir, you're guaranteed to have a favorable wind in any direction or your money back. Thanks, Skidbladnir. Hey, that's cool. Super neat. I don't even remember filming that. Well, good luck, Brock. I hope you and your brother didn't mess anything up, because the competition is tough. Yeah, so my brother's first gift for Odin is called Draupnir. It's a gold ring that creates 8 rings of equal mass every 9 nights. How exactly is that possible? I'm not sure. My brother said something about quantum physics and dark matter. Huh, pretty neat. Anyway, next for Frey is this gold boar named Gulenbursty. It can run real fast on air and water, and oh yeah, it also makes for a good nightlight. That was kind of an incidental feature. Oh, awesome, I've always wanted a pet. And this last gift for Thor is called Mjolnir, and before anyone says anything, I want to take full responsibility for tarnishing what otherwise would have been my brother's masterpiece. The handle is about 3 centimeters shorter than it was supposed to be. Ooh. But subpar ergonomics aside, it can be thrown with perfect accuracy, it can shrink for convenient carrying, and it won't break no matter how hard you hit stuff with it, so you can pretty much kill monsters non-stop. 20 out of 10! I don't think that's how our rating system works.
20 out of 10.
Yeah, 20 out of 10. Yep, looks like Brock and Atri win fair and square. Well, looks like I can take your head now, Loki. Oh, sure, just give me 1 second. Ow, my other bone! Wow, this thing is great. Alright, Loki, a deal's a deal. Indeed it is. And, if you look at the fine print of our agreement, you'll see that while you're free to take my head, you're not entitled to my neck. So you better not cut off any of my neck along with my head, or you'll be having a word from my lawyer, sir. Solid case. Damn, he got him there. You gotta read the fine print. Ugh, man, you suck. If my brother, the sentient sewing needle, were here, I'd totally sew your mouth shut. Did somebody say sentient sewing needle? Well, if anyone needs me, I'm gonna be out killing monsters with my cool new hammer for the next several months. Peace. And with Thor on sabbatical, the gods started to notice that they were uncomfortably vulnerable in the hypothetical event of a mass Jotun invasion. Then one day, a guy named Master Builder, rumored to be pretty good at building things, came and offered to build them a defensive wall for the low price of the sun, the moon, and the goddess Freya's hand in marriage. No way we'd ever make a deal like that, right, guys? guys. A big wall would be nice. Yeah, but the sun and the moon are pretty important. Also the third thing. Oh, hold on, let me loosen your mouth stitches. Thanks. Anyway, what I was saying was, why don't we take him up on his deal, but give him a hard deadline that he'll never meet? So in the end, we'll get at least part of a wall and not have to pay for it. Hey, that's a good idea. Damn, you're on a hot streak, Loki. May I object to this course of action? Nope, just checking. So the gods took Master Builder's offer, but told him that if he didn't finish the wall by the first day of summer, he'd lose his payment. That works for me, but is it alright if my horse just helps me carry stuff? Sure, that sounds fine. Perfect, thanks. Well, off to work. Well, shit. And with the help of his horse Svadilfari, Master Builder was able to put the wall together with lightning speed. And as summer drew near, the gods started to get worried and called a meeting, where they politely asked Loki if they had any ideas for a way out of their conundrum. Don't worry, I've already concocted a foolproof plan for halting their progress. I'll simply divert my target's attention through the art of seduction. That's an interesting approach, but are you sure that would work on the Master Builder? What does the Master Builder have to do with anything? Oh god. And then while Master Builder and his horse were on their way to pick up their last load of bricks, a ravishing young mare appeared. And Svadilfari was so enamored that he forgot about his job and bounded off with his new lady friend, leaving Master Builder to try and finish the wall alone as quickly as he could. But as the first day of summer finally arrived, his efforts proved to be in vain. Hey, no fair, you guys pulled some shenanigans. If it's any consolation, we didn't exactly get out of this unscathed. Mentally, at least. Oh, you'll be plenty more scathed when I'm done. Ow! All 206 of my bones! Oh, hey Thor, nice to see you're back. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun killing monsters with this hammer. Sorry, I've had a long day, so I'm a little hoarse. Ugh. Ew. So where's Loki? They just horsing around somewhere? Anyway, I need to go grab some dinner. I'm so hungry I could eat a whole— Stop! And then after, oh lord, forgive me for this one. 11 to 12 months, Loki returned accompanied by an 8-legged foal named Sleipnir. And Sleipnir could run super fast, so when he grew up, Odin claimed him as his personal steed. Wow, Loki, looks like your shenanigans once again helped us in the end. I sure am glad I made that blood pact with you. Aw, thanks. I know my antics can get pretty wacky, but I promise I'll always be a good friend and never betray you guys. Oh, hi, Balder. You're looking very murderable today. What? Nothing. The gods were in the business of making sure the world doesn't get destroyed, but unfortunately the Jotnar had a knack for making their job difficult. So it became Thor's responsibility to go out into Jotunheim every once in a while and commit some violent murder, in the name of peace. And he was really good at his job thanks to his magic hammer Mjolnir. But one night, somebody snuck into his house while he was sleeping and stole it. Oh, good morning. Honey, where's my hammer? Don't you have it right there? This is a ruler and a can of beans taped together to form the approximate shape of my hammer. Loki! I'm sorry I shaved down the outsoles of your boots to make you feel slightly shorter and harm your sensitive masculinity. What? Oh, nothing. What did you want to ask about? My hammer is missing. Did you steal it? I wish. That's a way better prank than the entirely hypothetical one I just mentioned. Yeah, except for the fact that I need my hammer to make sure the Jotnar don't end the world. Also, I like killing things. Oh yeah, the world ending is definitely not something I want to happen. At least not until somebody finishes writing my favorite fantasy series, Patrick. Then Loki decided to investigate, so they traveled into Jotunheim where they encountered Thrym, king of the Jotnar. Oh hey Loki, how are things going back in Asgard? Suspicious chuckling. Did you steal Thor's hammer, Thrym? Yep, while he was sleeping I swapped it with a ruler taped to a can of beans to form the approximate shape of his hammer. Damn, I should have thought of that. Well look, you're gonna have to return it, because Thor needs it to murder your people. Oh sure, I'll be happy to hand it over, to whoever can present me the goddess Freya's hand in marriage. Oh god, you're an incel? I take offense to your derogatory use of that word. Now if you'll excuse me, I have stuff to do. So Loki went back to Thor and told him the news, and then the two of them went to Freya and decided to come up with a plan of their own. It'll be tough to get your hammer back without Freya, but I think I know another way we could do it, but I'm not sure if you'll be a fan of my idea. I'll do anything to get my hammer back! I'll do anything to get my hammer back except for this! Oh, relax, it won't be that bad. I happen to be an expert in the art of femininity, so just follow my lead and it'll be over before you know it. Wait, why am I the one pretending to be Freya if you can shapeshift? Oh hey look, we're here and they see us, can't change course now. Finally, my beautiful bride has arrived. Wait a second, you don't look anything like the pictures I've seen. You're even more beautiful in person. Wait, I don't know how to feel about that. And then, before the ceremony, Thrym invited his lovely bride and her maid to a great feast. Our entree for this evening is your choice between the braised ox short rib and the honey-glazed salmon fillet. And for our sides, we have Huh, that was pretty good. Do you have any more beer? Someone, drank all of it. I gotta admit, I didn't expect my lovely Freya to have such a large appetite. Oh, well, that's just because she's been so excited to meet her handsome alpha Chad groom that she hasn't been able to eat for the past 9 days, and now she's just ravenous. You know what I think? I think that's pretty hot. Oh, alright, well, I'm not gonna tell you not to feel that way. You could. Do you, Thrym, take Freya to be your lawfully wedded wife? Hell yeah, I do. And do you, Freya, take Thrym to be your lawfully wedded husband? Till death do us part. Tight, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You can make out now. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this part. Ugh! Her eyes make her look like she wants to crush me to death with her bare hands! Would you be into that? Huh, actually I think I might be. Okay, I think it's time to exchange wedding presents now! Ah, of course. As promised, I present to you Thor's famous hammer. Where is that guy anyway? I would have thought he'd come here to get it himself. Oh, he's here alright. And he's been looking forward to this moment all day. Oh, well that explains a lot. But you know what? I've discovered a lot about myself today, and I don't think this is a deal breaker. Ow, I'm dead now, but I'm still kinda turned on! And then, reunited with Mjolnir, Thor used this opportunity to catch up on his Jotun killing quota. Whew, that feels better. This is the first time I've had to go longer than 3 hours without murdering something. Have you ever considered therapy? One day, the Aesir gods were coming home from a hunting trip and decided that they wanted to throw a party. So they headed to the home of a Jotun named Aegir, and Thor not so politely informed him that his house was the Aesir's new official party venue. Aegir was a little ticked off about having his weekend plans shaken up, so he told the gods that he wouldn't be able to host a party for them unless they could bring him a cauldron big enough to brew beer for all of the Aesir. Unfortunately, none of the Aesir had a vessel that could hope to accommodate Thor's stomach capacity, and it was looking like the party would have to be called off. But then Tyr told Thor about his father, the Jotun Heimir, who owned a cauldron that was a mile deep, and so the two of them headed into Jotunheim to see if they could acquire the goods. When they got to Heimir's hall, they were greeted by Tyr's lovely mother, along with his 900-headed grandmother, and Mrs. Heimir knew that her husband wouldn't be too jazzed about having to host an Aesir god like Thor in his home, so she told the two of them to hide before her husband came home so she could try to smooth things over first. Welcome home, dear. How was work? Horrible. Okay, well, our son Tyr has come to visit. I have a son? Yep, and he brought a friend of his, and I was planning on having them stay for dinner this evening. I guess that's fine. I just hope it's anyone but that despicable Jotun killer, Thor. Hi, Mr. Heimir, I'm Thor. You probably know about me because I regularly commit genocide against your people. I noticed there were a lot of barbecue kettle chips in this pantry, but I think Tyr ate them all, so I apologize on his behalf. So what's for dinner? And despite his hatred for Thor, Heimir was bound by good old hospitality customs to be a good host. So he served his guests 3 whole cows for dinner, of which Thor consumed 2. And because of this, Heimir was now running low on livestock, so he told Thor that they would have to go on a fishing trip if they all wanted to stay fed for the remainder of their visit. Sure, I'm down for some fishing. What should I use as bait? I don't know, just go find something so we can leave as soon as possible. Your cows are pretty tasty. Do you think this will work? I hate you so much my left eye just went numb. And so, Thor and Heimir sailed into the deep seas. Heimir rowed the boat into his normal fishing spot and caught 3 whole whales, enough to keep his family plus Thor fed for at least a couple more days. But Thor had bigger game in mind, and rowed farther out into deeper waters to cast his bait. Then from the depths of the sea came the great god's mortal nemesis. Jormungand, the fearsome world serpent, took the bait and burst to the surface to meet his foe. The two locked eyes and prepared for the battle, destined to claim both their lives and usher in the end of days. Nope, fuck that. Jake has at least another handful of these Norse mythology cartoons to make before we're doing Ragnarok. You don't get to just jump the gun, asshole. And then the two sailed back to shore with their fishing haul. It was at this point Thor remembered the plot of this story and that he and Tyr were supposed to retrieve Heimir's giant cauldron. But Heimir said he would only let Thor have it if he could prove his manliness once and for all in an ultimate test of strength, breaking his indestructible cup. But try as he might, Thor couldn't seem to put a dent in the vessel no matter what tools he used. Well, it looks like we've hit a wall. Probably, but don't beat yourselves up. The only thing harder than your father's cup is his head. Oh, really? Ha! Got it! Thanks for the tip, Tyr's mom. That was my favorite cup. But true to his word, Heimir rewarded Thor and Tyr by giving them his giant cauldron, and the two began carrying it off back to Asgard. But after walking for a while, Thor looked behind him and saw Heimir coming their way with an army of lava giants, ready to exact revenge for all the inconveniences he suffered. That might be a problem. Yeah, Tyr, is it cool if I go murder your father? Do you care about having my permission? Not really. Yeah, whatever, go ahead. Tight. Well, it was nice to see my mom. Might be awkward after this. Then Thor and Tyr finally return to Aegir's Hall ready to get their booze on, and so all the Aesir gods have every winter since. Unfortunately, Aegir's sleep schedule never recovered. So one time, the gods Odin, Loki, and Honir were out traveling when they came upon some oxen, and they decided to settle down and cook up some dinner. But strangely, no matter how long they cooked, the meat still came out raw. Looks like someone's using a magic spell to prevent our food from cooking. Loki, are you up to some shenanigans? Why whenever mischief is afoot you guys always look at me? Gee, I wonder why. Hey guys! Whoa! Don't worry, I'm just a giant talking eagle. It's fine, don't question it. I saw you had some tasty looking meat, so I was wondering if maybe I could have a share? And if we don't give you any, you'll keep using this magic to make us starve? Yep. Well, as a trickster god, I gotta respect the hustle. So Odin agreed to give the eagle a portion of their meal, and once he lifted his spell, the meat cooked right away. But Loki wasn't jazzed about sharing food, so they started whacking the eagle with a stick. But the eagle grabbed onto it and shot high up into the air with his assailant. Well, this is quite the pickle I've gotten myself into. I suppose this is where you reveal that you're actually a powerful Jotun and you're gonna force me into a vow of service in exchange for my life? Haha, you got me. Yeah, I'm actually the Jotun Thiazi. Originally, all I wanted was some free steak, but since you so kindly inserted yourself into my pickle jar, I'm gonna request that you lure the goddess Idun out of Asgard so I can kidnap her. And if I don't, I'll drop you and you'll turn into a flesh pancake. You drive a hard bargain, Thiazi, my man. The goddess Idun was the wife of the god Bragi and keeper of the golden apples which granted the gods extended youth when eaten. She never left Asgard unaccompanied, but Loki, ever the schemer, came up with a plan to lure her into Thiazi's trap. Hey there, Idun, how's it going? Hi, Loki. You here for a bite of my apples? Actually, I'm good on that score. I found some apples that are even better than yours, over in that secluded forest. You know, the one so far away and densely wooded that nobody in Asgard would be able to hear cries for help coming from there. You found some apples that are better than mine? Oh, we'll see about that. So Idun followed Loki into the forest, where Thiazi promptly swooped in to catch his prey. So we're good now, right? Yeah, we're square. Tight. And now with Idun missing, all the gods in Asgard began to grow old and feeble, so they assembled to discuss their predicament. Geez, I sure am old now. Yeah, me too. Man, what are old people things? I lost my teeth. I can't hear things well. I need glasses to use my phone. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm looking as young as ever. Yeah, I have no idea where my wife went with her apples. Does anyone know who last saw Idun? I don't know, but it sure seems like mischief is afoot. Shit, I did do it this time. And the gods politely requested for Loki to rectify the situation. So they borrowed Freya's falcon suit and flew over to Thiazi's home where Idun sat. Hey, so I'm really sorry you got caught up in all of this. I was kind of in a pickle. Thiazi threatened my life to help him take you, but now the Aesir are threatening me to steal you back, so here I am. Yeah, next time someone threatens your life, try dying. And so Loki turned Idun into a nut and flew off back to Asgard with her. But when Thiazi returned home and saw his prisoner was missing, he flew off in pursuit. When the gods saw Loki and Idun returning with Thiazi hot on their trail, they piled up some wood and lit it up as the Jotun passed through. Geez, I'm dead now. And now with Idun returned, the gods could once again feast on her apples to restore their youth. But they couldn't celebrate for too long because Thiazi's daughter, the Jotuness Skadi, soon arrived, seeking vengeance for her father's murder. The gods didn't want to deal with another conflict, so as a gesture of peace, they decided to offer her some compensation for her loss. First, she was allowed to choose a husband from any of the gods, but she could only pick them based on their feet. She chose the prettiest pair of feet in the lineup, hoping they belonged to Balder, the most beloved of the gods. But it turned out that she picked Njord. Another compensation the gods owed Skadi was to find a way to make her laugh. But this proved to be a more difficult task. And so the gods once again turned to Loki to solve their problem. Loki took a rope and tied one end to the beard of a goat and the other to their junk. Needless to say, what ensued was an absolute riot. The gods' final compensation for Skadi was to send her father Thiazi's eyes into the sky to become stars, so he could always watch over her. Wow, we sure had our ups and downs today, but you know, in the end, everything turned out just fine and all is forgiven. In fact, I for one feel like we've all become even closer friends than— Shut the fuck up, Loki. One day, Loki was in the mood for doing some mischief, so they borrowed Frigg's falcon suit and traveled into Jotunheim. They ended up at the home of a Jotun named Geirrod who spotted them spying from a window. Geirrod sent a servant to catch his avian intruder, and Loki decided to amuse themselves by watching him struggle up to the window. It was a slow day, alright? But when the servant reached Loki, they discovered they were stuck to the windowsill and were caught. Geirrod could tell Loki wasn't any ordinary bird, so he locked them in a box to starve. After 3 months, Loki finally revealed their identity identity and promised Geirrod, if they were let go, they'd bring Thor to his home without his hammer and magic belt to defend himself with. This turned out not to be a very difficult scheme to pull off, as Thor is always down for a chance to kill some Jotuns, and a handicap to spice things up was only a bonus as far as he was concerned. On their way to Geirrod, however, Thor and Loki stopped at the home of Grid, the Jotunist mother of the Aesir god Vidar. She warned Thor to watch out for Geirrod's mischief, and then lent him a new belt of strength, some iron gloves, and a staff called Gridaval. So, never mind about the handicaps, I guess. Also, it's not 100% clear whether the iron gloves given to Thor were his iconic gloves Yarngraper, since Yarngraper just means iron gloves. Was Snorri talking about the Yarngraper, or just a Yarngraper? No gloves are mentioned in Thor's Droppa, an earlier Skaldic rendition of this story, so we're just gonna shrug and move on. Anyway, then their path took them to the river Vimur, and Loki latched onto Thor as he started wading across it. But halfway through, the tide began to rise higher and higher, threatening to drown the gods. And that's when Thor looked upstream and noticed Geirrod's Jotunist daughter Gjálp straddling the river and, quote, causing the river to rise. Interpret that how you will. So Thor picked up a rock. If you want to stem a river, you gotta cut it off at its source. Ow. And then, finally, Thor and Loki arrived at Geirrod's home. Why hello, my long-awaited guests. I hope you didn't have to face any treachery on your way here. I have a perfectly cordial dinner planned for this evening, but I'm sure you're wary from your long travels. So, why don't you take some time to relax in my luxury guest suite? I called the chair. So Thor popped a squat in his room, but once he sat down, the chair started rising, and he realized Geirrod's daughters, Gjálp and Grape, were underneath, pushing him up to the ceiling. So Thor took Gridaval and stuck it into the ceiling, while pushing down hard with his legs against the force of his assailants. The old chair trick? Do these people think I was born yesterday or something? You fucking scare me, man. Afterward, Thor was invited to meet with Geirrod inside his hall. Hey, so I feel kind of embarrassed, but I think I should come clean and say I wasn't 100% honest about why I invited you here. You're trying to kill me, right? Yeah, I really hate you and want you to die. Fair enough, the feeling's mutual. And you're also probably mad that I just killed your 2 daughters? Oh, for sure, I'm absolutely gutted. They were my pride and joy. All that drives me now is a burning desire for revenge. And I'm assuming now you've prepared another devious surprise attack that I just walked into? Yeah, you totally got me. Alright, prepare to die. Then Geirrod used tongs to pull a lump of molten iron out of the fire and flung it at his enemy. But Thor caught the projectile with Grid's iron gloves. Well, shit, I'm out of ideas. And then Geirrod hid behind a pillar. But Thor swung his arm and tossed the hot iron straight through the pillar, Geirrod, and the outer wall of the hall. Yeah, this was a very unsatisfying turn of events and now I'm dead, blah. Well, I guess it all just goes to show. Whenever, if you wanna be, Alright, there's not really a moral to this story, I just had a lot of fun killing people.